Is the summation of the May 5th meeting of the Mendham Borough Town Council. Didn't get the tape till a week late because the clerk was on vacation. Apparently nobody in the town government, 40 employees, can put together a few documents and send an email and copy a CD. So, you know, I was out of luck for 5 or 6 days. Then I've been busy also. So anyway, there's a meeting tonight, I think. Tonight's the 18th. If they didn't cancel the second meeting of the month this month, I'm not sure when they do that. I did submit a couple of questions, but I guess I'll address those later or in a different video, depending on whether they're read or not, or whether there's a meeting or not, because I'm really not sure. And it's too big a hassle to find out because the town website isn't going to tell you that kind of stuff. But anyway, all right, the meeting started with the typical, you know, prayer thing, silent prayer. So I did make a comment that that should stop, that practice of calling it a prayer. The first thing dealt with was the consent agenda, and apparently there's this you know, issue that keeps coming up about members of the council that are participants in different organizations, like the local Catholic Church, which a majority of members are, and the majority of members being members of the pastime club, the sports club, you know. So I guess it's no coincidence that we waste hundreds of thousands of dollars on sports fields when the members of the council are participants in a club devoted to bullshit nonsense activities for children. But anyway, enough of that. So anyway, they have this stupid doctrine of necessity that they have to invoke, and the lawyer gave some explanation, and I think he got it wrong. So I think if there's only 5 members present and 3 of them are members of the pastime club, that they have to invoke the doctrine, and they didn't, as far as I could tell, under this circumstance, and they should have. But whatever, it doesn't matter. They're going to do whatever they want anyway. All right, there was some issue. Apparently the sewage plant has to borrow some money to do improvements for the couple of pumping stations, so they took some money out of their capital reserve fund, but they didn't have enough money in it, so they had to borrow another $250,000 in bonds. Apparently there's some other money they took out of the capital fund for some other improvements. I think they might be related to the water infiltration thing, but they could be for the other pump station. Who knows? It's all very convoluted. That isn't paid back by the general fund. It is paid back by the sewage fees, so that debt isn't technically public debt. But there was some public expenditures, 240, another pile of money taken out of the capital improvement fund for some kind of work. I don't know what that is. Another $132,000 was taken out for improvements to the firehouse parking lot. So the fire department has cost a bit of money in the last couple of years, a $500,000 truck and another $132,000 a year plus incidentals. There was a wireless communications ordinance was submitted, I think. Might be final approval, I don't remember. Yeah, I think it was final approval because it was open to debate. Nobody said anything about it. And it just has to do with some kind of hope that we can oblige whatever wireless company imposes an antenna on us, that they put up a fence and put up some trees and do what they have to do to cover the damn thing and make it less conspicuous and offensive. Okay, the other one was some sort of resolution regarding the Public Works Department, and I think they're going to just borrow or rent the county's street sweeper, so apparently they'll do some street sweeping. There was also resolutions approving the some expenditures contracts, I guess, for the water infiltration work to be done at the sewage plant. There was some sort of talk about the Highlands and things are going well, and somehow those meetings are constructive even though nobody shows up at them. The big news from my point of view was they had a resolution approving a contract with this company called CitEnet. And they're going to pay them $7,500 a year to provide web production tools. I mean, they're not even going to do any of the active work. They're just going to provide software that allows town employees to, you know, put text in documents and then submit it and have it put on the web page. And you know, the town did have a free website that it rejected that I was providing for 2 years. They wouldn't even pay a $230 housing fee bill. Wouldn't even pay that. And now they'll pay $7,500 a year for a website that's not going to really do anything. I mean, it's not going to, you know, it's not going to give them complete control over the website. It's going to give them a template to work through to put their information in, and there's no doubt that town employees can't do much, so they'll screw this up, no doubt. So don't expect a dazzling website for this $7,000 because you're not going to get it. It's just such a racket. I mean, just think about it, $7,500 a year. I mean, add that up. A lot of money for something they should just spend for once. They get the basic website, and then, somebody spends 5 hours a month updating it. Big deal. Right, anyway, the Fletcher Trust Fund. So they're going to wipe that out, apparently, to do the stupid garden at the Phoenix house, to upgrade it, so they'll probably waste 100 grand or whatever, 80 grand. On a garden that really we should just dispose of. We need the parking spaces in the center of town. There's no argument about that. It's a garden in the middle of the center of town, right at the busiest intersection of town, the noisiest place in town. What's the point of having a garden there? I mean, if you're going to spend the money, put the garden where the library is, or, I think it's a great idea to have a garden down by the Mendham pond. It'd be a nice place to have plantings around the fences and all that kind of stuff. And this is just stupid. And you could even make it, non-profit garden down there, but you could allow companies in town to do a little advertising and finance the plantings, and you could do something creative. But instead, you're going to do something just plain stupid, and you're going to just waste $100,000 on a garden so the town employees can eat their lunch out there. I mean, it's just nonsense. And then we can pay public employees to weed it and do whatever the garden club can't do, mowing grass and all the rest of it. But anyway, stupid. The police radio issue that was brought up in the last meeting, it doesn't have to do with cell phones per se. It just has to do with their computer systems work on the cell phone wireless network. And so that's what this whole deal was about, is apparently they can't communicate. Their computers can't communicate with the police station, which makes a lot of sense. And so that's what this thing had to do with, its upgrade so that they can communicate properly with the home station. So apparently some employees resigning, so that's a big mystery, because it's not formal yet, so I don't know why. They don't talk about this kind of stuff, and it's just, they always take this to such extremes. They say, oh yeah, we'll have to do something in executive session, when they could say publicly what they're doing, but they're just taking their prerogative to keep things a secret that don't have to be a secret. There would be no violation of anybody's rights to sit there and discuss the fact that an employee is resigning that might be a significant employee. I mean, why not give a little heads up on that stuff? It doesn't really matter. But just stupid. Just more idiotic government function. Apparently there's going to be some flood insurance ordinance proposed, so then the members of the town can then buy federally subsidized flood insurance. So that's almost a bad thing too. I mean, I suppose it's good for the town, but I suppose it's, publicly bad policy to be subsidizing insurance that shouldn't even be provided. There was some talk about having some sort of bike race on Labor Day, and who knows? There was some mention of the fact that there's liability, if a kid slips on a rock or something, and who knows, it'll be the town's fault if there's a rock on the road. So, why bother? Let some private organization take on that liability. KC's was brought up, the little cafeteria thing. Apparently they have conceded they're not going to beat the system, that it's rigged against them. I don't know the rights and wrongs of all the issues, but I'm sure the judges screwed them just as they screwed me, because they're in the pocket of the government. And so they've apparently conceded that they got no chance to get anywhere in the justice system, and so they're going to pay some $12,000 in fines and court costs. They're pleading guilty to ending the controversy, apparently. And so then somebody in the public comment section did ask the borough what the debt was. Apparently, the town held debt, and apparently none of the council members, or the mayor, or the town administrator, or whoever else was attending the meeting who might have been a financial officer, nobody knew the answer. I mean, they couldn't even give a ballpark, like, oh, it's somewhere between $4 and $10 million. No, couldn't even do that. I don't remember. I used to know the number, but it's, yeah, I think it's somewhere like between $6 million, $7 million for the municipal debt, or $5, something like that. And then when you add the school debt, we all have a hunk of the school debt in the regional high school district, and that's like $7 million or something. But I mean, if you add it all up, or you put a number, it's, you know, it's $10 million, something like that, $10 million worth of debt in a town of 5,000 people, and that debt's going to become more worrisome as time passes. If bonds become harder to sell and interest rates go up, life will become unpleasant. And so that is the news. That's the summation. That's it. That's the end. Like I said, I did submit a couple of questions. One of them about the website. You know, why they didn't put the service contract for web services up to public bidding. Make some effort to get somebody maybe local to do it. You know, maybe somebody for free, volunteer organization, something. But no, they didn't make any efforts like that. And I did also point out that the moment of silent prayer thing, the word prayers really should go. That you know, they're really supposed to be using the moment of silent thing, not silent prayer. They could say silent contemplation.